This is a requested tutorial. There are two outputs on the brick texture node. The color output determines the initial color of the bricks, which would be black and white. If I connect the color output to the principled shader, I can now see the brick texture. I can add a color ramp between the brick texture and the principled shader and change the colors. However, there is a better option, which we will explore in a few minutes. The factor is an output that, when used in a combination of other nodes, can adjust the weight of a blend, usually between 0 and 1. For example, if I connect the factor of the brick texture to the color ramp, and the color of the color ramp to the metallic of the principled shader, notice that the material changes to a shinier metallic appearance. Notice that the texture is stretched or appearing as a solid color on the various sides of the cube. This can easily be fixed by adding a texture coordinate node and connecting the UV output to the vector input of the brick texture. The vector input represents the three-dimensional math factor, x, y, and z. The color inputs are the colors of the bricks. You can change the color directly on the node, or you can add another node such as an HSV node and change the color. The second color input works the same way. You can change the color directly on the node, or you can add another node such as a color ramp and change the color. The mortar input determines the color of the mortar and works the same way as the brick color inputs. You can change the color directly on the node, or you can add another node such as a color ramp and change the color. The scale input refers to the overall scale of the texture. Larger values will produce smaller bricks. The mortar size refers to the size of the mortar between the bricks. 0 would mean no mortar, and larger numbers means a larger scale of the mortar. Mortar smoothing blurs or softens the edge between the bricks and the mortar. The higher the number, the more smoothing takes place. The bias refers to the color variation between the two brick color fields. A value of -1 uses only the first color, and a value of 1 uses only the second color. Brick width controls the width of the bricks. Row height controls the height of the bricks. The offset determines the brick offset of the various rows. 0 and 1 give you a non-staggered set of bricks. But anything in between will offset the rows of bricks. The frequency determines the offset frequency with a value of 2, giving an even or uneven pattern of rows. The squash property determines the amount of brick squashing. That is the number of bricks that can fit into a specific space. And frequency determines the brick squashing frequency.